Hey, Shalom Israel, Brother Reggie Jr. here. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be doing Deuteronomy Chapter 5, just picking up where I left off from last time, guys. And in this chapter, the Lord, through Moses, is pretty much going to tell the children of Israel, hey, you need to make sure when I give you the land of Canaan, you need to make sure you're obedient to me and you keep my laws, because I will not hesitate to throw you out of the land like I'm doing these Canaanites. I'm going to use another nation, if you disobey me, to throw you out the land, just how I'm using you on these Canaanites. I'm going to use another nation on you. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with in this chapter. Now, in the previous lesson I did, Moses basically was giving Israel a rundown of their journeyings in the wilderness, and he was showing them like, hey, every time you were disobedient to the Lord, he punished you and he set you back. Okay, he had you destroyed. So remember, you go into this land and you pull this stuff you pulled in the wilderness. Like I said earlier, the Lord will not hesitate to throw you out. That's basically what Moses was saying. And, Moses even said, he said, I know when you go on the land, you're going to utterly corrupt yourselves, and the Lord going to throw you out of the land and scatter you to the four winds. And that's where we are today. Because he noticed people. Even Aaron, before he died, he said, Moses, you notice people. Their heart is set on mischief. They love evil. They love trouble. Okay, and that's why we have nothing but trouble and evil in our communities. Okay, but we're going to go ahead, guys, and get right into it. Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 1. And Moses called all Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and the judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that ye may learn them and keep them, and what? Do them. For the Lord, and that's the problem with our people, they're always learning, but they never keep, they never do. They love the idea of God's commandments. They love the idea of being obedient to God, but they don't want to do it because it means they have to change their evil ways. They have to put their pleasures away. In Israel, they're not willing to do that. Verse 2. The Lord our God made a covenant with us, not all nations, with us in Horeb. The Lord made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day. Verse 4. The Lord talked with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of the fire. Verse 5. I stood between the Lord and you at that time to shew you the word of the Lord, for you were afraid by reason of the fire, and went not up into the mount, saying, this is what the Lord said, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. So not Moses, not Aaron. The Lord said, I did. Your God, I did. The Elohim, I brought you out of slavery. That's what Egypt and the house of bondage represents. It represents slavery. So he's saying, I brought you out of slavery. So you don't need to worship no man. You don't need to worship Moses. You don't need to worship Aaron. You don't need to worship none of the elders that I set up over here. Lord, like, you need to worship me because I brought you out. Because if it wasn't for me, Moses, Aaron, the elders that I set up, the captains, all that, none of that wouldn't have even been a thing if it weren't for me. So you need to bow the knee and worship the Almighty God. He deserves the glory. He is worthy of it. Verse 7. So the Lord starts, he says, thou shalt have none other gods before me. You are to worship no one but me. That's the first and foremost thing, because whoever you worship, brothers and sisters, that's who has your mind. And see, this is why Israel can't serve God, because they're serving someone else. That someone else, whether it be car, house, money, the heathen, it's got their mind. So their hands are going to work according to whoever or whatever it is that has their mind. That's why the Lord said, hey, don't worship no other gods before me. Verse 8. He says, thou shalt not make thee any graven image. And now when he's saying don't make any graven image, he's saying don't make any idol gods. Don't make anything with the intent of worshiping it. That's what he's saying, because we know that's true, or the Lord would have never allowed artists to be born, sculptors, and all of those type of people. So we know that's not what he's talking about. No, he's talking about making something with the intent of worshiping it. He don't want that. And also making a graven image is what the fourth beast do, right? They'll get some fat black woman named Lizzo, straight from the hood, broke, poor, no money, no education, nothing like that. And they will form her into an idol for the children of Israel to worship, in hopes that this idol would destroy the women. And so Lizzo would be considered a graven image. Jay-Z would be considered a graven image. People who Israel idolize and worship. And more than anybody, this heathen man, this European man, he's a graven image for the children of Israel. And the Lord, let me tell you something. He destroys idols. He don't like it, brothers and sisters. He don't. That is against his commandments. You need to be obedient. He says, don't make any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. And we know that Israel, they like worshiping Baal, like worshiping them bull gods and stuff. And bull gods and stuff. See, that's worshiping things that's on earth beneath. Because earth is beneath heaven. That's why I say earth beneath. Verse 9. He says, thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them. Okay, this is what he telling our ancestors at the time. Now, see, we laugh at our ancestors. Oh, man, they was worshiping little statues and stuff. Yeah, you may not be worshiping little statues now, but you still worshiping. You still bowing the knee to the heathen. You still bowing the knee to money and cars in this system. You still bow the knee to that. So you have no right or reason to be laughing at your ancestors when you're committing the same sin that they've committed. Even worse, actually. Does the Lord say we are worse than our fathers? Says, nor serve them. So you are not to bow down to them, and you are not to serve them. Okay? And when we say serve, we mean giving them that God praise, that God worship, that idolization. That's what it's what they're talking about. Because a lot of us Hebrews, that we acknowledge the Lord as our God, and him only do we serve. Hey, we got to work among the heathen. And they're over us in a lot of these positions that they have. We do the typical yes, sir, no, sir, what you need me to do. We do the normal stuff, but we not going to get at worship. They not going to get that from us, brothers and sisters, because that's against the Lord's commandments. He don't want us to do that. Because guess what? That's not loving your God. Because the whole entire, all of the commandments is just about loving your God and loving your neighbor. That's all it's about. So in worshiping that other than God, you're not loving your God, brothers and sisters. It's that simple. And if you love your God, you wouldn't put no other gods before him. No matter who it is or what it is, you ain't going to put them above the Lord. So he said, you ain't going to bow down, you ain't going to serve. But look at this here. The Lord says, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity or the sin of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So If if your father hated me, I'm going to get him. If you hate me, I'm going to get him. You have children and they hate me, I'm going to get them. So it ain't going to stop. All of them that hate me, they don't want to do what I say, I'm going to get them. Look at all these generations that have passed by. Just among the Israelites alone, these black people out here, every one of them that don't serve God, they're disobedient. The Lord come after them. Not a generation don't go by that he don't get. Verse 10, he says, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. And in every generation of Israelites born, there are always Israelites that have a heart to serve the Lord. And guess what? He blessed them every generation. He blessed them and he take care of them all the way till they die. So we realize here we're dealing with two groups, a group that is disobedient and a group that's obedient. And more is the group that is disobedient than the group that is obedient. Verse 11, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Okay, and we see Israel do that all the time. All they do is talk about God all up in their mouth. But their lifestyle is a wretched mess. And you know what you do when you do that? You running God's name through the mud. Now people all of a sudden, they're not taking the Lord serious. Because, this man or this woman here, say they serve God. All they do is talk about God and stuff like that. But look at them. They be cheating, stealing, fornicating, doing all kind of stuff. Making a mockery out of the Lord. We can't do that, brothers and sisters. That goes against the commandments of the Lord. Verse 11, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Okay, so you claiming the Lord, but you don't have a lifestyle that lines up with the name you claiming. The Lord is against that. Verse 12. He says, it's a big one right here. Keep the Sabbath day to what? Sanctify, or what? Separate. Sanctify means to separate. It means holy. You're not going to treat this Sabbath day here like the rest of the days of the week. You running around, you working, you indulging in your pleasures, you doing all kind of stuff. He said, when it come to this Sabbath day, you're going to separate this day. This day ain't going to be like the rest of the days. I want this day to be separate. As the Lord thy God have commanded thee. And see, a lot of Israelites, when you bringing them this word, I'm talking about the ones who don't know their God. You tell them they Israel and stuff, they get all happy and they get hyped up. Yes, sir, boy, I'm Israel. But then as soon as you start telling them, okay, now it's rules to serving this God. Just like you go to this heathen job and he has rules. Well, the Most High has rules, okay, that you have to follow. That's when the Israelites start side-eyeing you. And then as soon as you start talking about this Sabbath day, then they all of a sudden they gotta go up. I gotta go. What time is it? Hey, bro, I'll holler. Hey, bro. Hey, I'll holler at you later. That's what Israel do. Soon as it's time to do, they gone. I can't do that. What? I can't eat pork. I can't eat swine. I can't eat raw food. I can't have sushi and stuff like that. Oh, man. I ain't got time. I ain't trying to hear that, bro. Actually, I got to go, bro. I'll see you tomorrow. You don't see him tomorrow, by the way. He just telling you that so he can get out your way. So he can leave so he don't got to hear no more of that word. But that's our people. When it's time to do, they want nothing to do with God. And that's what I keep trying to say. Is our people, they love the idea of God. It sounds great. They love the sound of what it means to be holy. But when it's time to be holy, they don't want to be holy. I love the idea of serving God, but I don't want to serve him. I love the idea of being blessed because it sounds good, but I don't want to be blessed. You get where I'm coming from? That's our people. That's why it's so frustrating sometimes to talk to our people, because that's the way they think. They love talking about it, but when it's time to do, they ain't trying to do nothing. You know why? Because they don't want to have to change, brothers and sisters. They do not want to change. That's what Brother Reggie was saying on the Sabbath day. When it come down to it, Israel does not want to change. I love doing evil. I love indulging in my pleasures and in my lust, and I don't want to give that up. Point blank, period. That's the way our people think. Even a lot of brothers and sisters, they come watch us every Sabbath day, but they have no intent on changing their behavior or changing their life. They just like hearing the truth. They love the way it sounds. But when it comes down to making the changes, they don't want to do it. It's like a fat person, right? You got a fat person, he watching all these weight loss videos, watching all these other fat people that was, big, eating all crazy stuff, and then they humbled themselves, stopped doing all that eating, and then they exercise, they lost the weight. You know what I mean? Fat people, they love looking at that stuff. Oh man, look how he did that. But when it's time to actually exercise themselves, now when it's time for them to do, they don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. Let's see, our people, they don't like discipline. They don't like order. But it's okay, because the Lord, I'm telling you, he gonna humble. He know how to get our people in line. Cut that pleasure off, cut that food and water off. Watch what our people do. It happened every time. We seen it in the Bible. But let's go back to it. So he told them in verse 12, he said, you need to sanctify, separate my Sabbath day from the rest of the days. He said, see, 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God, and that Sabbath is rest. He says, in it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou. And see, the Lord said, you ain't gonna do no work. And it's not really just the work, like going to work and stuff, but we know what he's talking about. He talking about when you indulging in your pleasures, you ripping and running places, going where you want to go. See, for black people, when they're first told about the Sabbath day, it's very hard for them, because this system that we live in is always on the go. Everything is constantly moving and going. This system is like New York. It's the city. It's the system that never sleeps. It just keeps going. So when these Israelites are introduced to the Sabbath day, wait a minute, I got to sit my behind down somewhere. I got to rest. I can't be ripping and running and going places. No, brother, no, sister, you can't. You got to rest on this day. You can't do what you do, during them 6 days. It's a problem for our people, because they're not used to it. They're so used to this system having them on the run, whether it's working or whether it's their pleasures. I got to constantly be getting. And the Lord like, not on my day. And so a lot of Israelites, they struggle with that. That's why they be, oh man, can I go to the park? Can I ride around? Can I go walking? Because this system, they're so used to just going. And I've been there, brothers and sisters. When I first kept the Sabbath, it was tough for me, because I was so used to being on the go. I was, you're just used to this system, going out shopping. Then, this fourth beast, they made sure, and the Lord made sure, but the Lord made sure this fourth beast put everything exciting, all the sales, everything, all the events, he made sure that they put it on the Sabbath day. You want to know why the Lord made sure they put all of that stuff on the Sabbath day? because he wants to see in this wilderness whether or not Israel's going to be obedient or disobedient. Because the way this system is set up, you could do whatever the hell you want to do and can't nobody stop you. And the Lord got it like that for a reason, because he want to see which one of these black people going to obey me. It ain't no different from the first wilderness we was in. That's why the Lord said, I suffered you to hunger. I suffered you to thirst, because I wanted to see whether or not you was going to obey me. Well, the same this second time around in this wilderness, the Lord said, I suffered you to this system because I want to see whether or not you're going to obey me. That's why he got this system set up the way it is. Seems like you could just do whatever you want, because the Lord watching, he want to see who is the wheat and who is the tare. And remember, you can fool man, but you can't fool God. But we're going to keep reading. Verse 15 says, and remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt. So when you got your brother, your sister serving you need to make sure you allow them to rest on the Sabbath. Because remember, you was a servant in the land of Egypt. Because remember, in slavery, they worked your ass to death. Egypt wasn't no different from the chattel slavery that we went through over here. They literally worked them to exhaustion, like to the point they were so tired they died. A lot of the kids too, they worked the kids. They worked the kids so hard they died. So the Lord like, hey, you remember how that was. He says, so you need to make sure they rest too. It says, so remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. And see, the Sabbath day should be a blessing to our people, because in that time, even in our time today, you was once in slavery where you didn't get any rest. They worked you like a damn dog. Well, actually, they worked you harder because the dog got the rest. You didn't. So you was worked like a slave. You was worked like the slave that you were and still are. And so the Sabbath day, you should be thankful. Even me, I'm thankful on the Sabbath day, because there was a time at one point in this country, at least that I'm in, hey, there was a time we was in the field. Right now, sun out, we was in the field every day, all day, in the hot, blazing sun. We wasn't in the AC like we are now. AC blowing, keeping us cool. Wasn't none of that. It wasn't none of that, brothers and sisters. So we ought to thank the Lord for where we are right now. But what our people doing, I don't want to hear nothing about that Sabbath day. Why we always got to do, how come the nations get to do what they want, but then us, we got to keep rules and we got to keep the Sabbath day. And let me tell you something, God gonna slap you right in your face with affliction. He gonna get that affliction and just all that crap you was taught. Because the Lord remember these hard words you speak to him, talking crazy when he know where he have brought you from. Absolutely unappreciative. That's our people all day. Which again, that was one of the reasons we went in captivity. Unthankful. Unholy. Verse 16. Now the Lord says, honor thy father and thy mother, as the Lord thy God have what? Commanded thee, that thy days may be prolonged, and that it may go well with thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. And see, that honoring your mother and your father, brothers and sisters, that's very important, because a lot of people seem to think, and honoring your mother and father, it has to do with how you're treating them, because a lot of people seem to think that Oh, you're supposed to do that when you're young, 15, 16, stuff like that. But when you get grown now, you ain't got to do that. Nah, God, notice how the Lord right there, he didn't give no age limit. When you reach under thy father and thy mother until you reach 45 years old, he didn't say that. He said, honor thy father and thy mother. And I got to keep it a buck, y'all. I have never in my life seen so many young people dying in my life. I mean, I've never seen it before. It's scary how many young people are dropping. And you know why? Because of that right there. Honor thy mother and thy father. Why? That thy days may be what? Prolonged. So your days being prolonged has a lot to do with how you treat your mother and your father. It's some, men and women, they're older now, they grown, they treat their parents like crap, man. They don't take care of them. They talk to them like a dog. Or, they just think they tough because they're grown now. They think they're tough. I can do what I want, nigga. I'm grown. Don't nobody tell me. And so they think it give them a right to disrespect their parents. But the Lord said what? That thy days may be prolonged. You want long life? You better act like you got some sense. Because I know it's a lot of y'all Israelites. You got parents that you don't honor them. You think because you're grown, you could do what you want. And the Lord, and mind you, that's not conditional. Honor them if they was good to you when you was younger. Lord didn't say that. I don't care if they treated you like shit. As long as they are alive, you honor them. You let the Lord handle that other stuff. But the Lord say, but I need you to make sure it's all about what you do. Because see, Israel, they're always worried about what the other person need to do. No, it's about what you do. And you, as a servant of God, I don't care if you don't like your parents or not. You don't agree with some of the stuff they said and did in your past. That is no concern of yours. You let the Lord handle that. But while they're alive, you need to make sure you honor them. The Lord said, especially if you want your days to be prolonged. He says, and not only that your days be prolonged, he says that it may go well with thee. So not only that you will live a long life, but in the life that you live, you're prosperous. So you not treating your parents right could cause you a hard life, boy. You could have a very, very hard life. So let's say you do live long. Lord, let you live long. But that don't mean it's going to go well with you all the days that you live long. See, this Lord is someone to be feared. It says, in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. So he's already warning Israel before they get into the land. Now, verse 17, he says, thou shalt not kill, meaning thou shalt not murder. You are not going to take somebody's life. You don't want nobody taking your life. So why would you take someone else's life? See, that's loving your neighbor, brothers and sisters. You don't want nobody to bust up in your house or while you walking, come up on you and take your life. Because believe it or not, life is a gift. I know here in this fourth kingdom, this fourth beast, they don't value life at all. But life is a gift, brothers and sisters, from the Lord. It's a blessing to be alive. It really, truly is. What did the Lord say? He said, I think he said something about an alive dog is better than a dead lion. It's a gift, brothers and sisters, to be alive and to be living. So the Lord said, hey, you love your neighbor, you're not going to kill him. And you're not going to kill them over no foolishness either. I don't care what they do to you. Yeah, but they talking crazy or they did this and do that. Yeah, that's why you need to have those fruits of the Spirit. You need to have patience. You need to have long suffering. You need to have mercy, and more than anything, you need to have faith in your God. Take your issues to the Lord. See, because that right there happens when you try to take matters into your own hands. You dealing with an unruly neighbor, unruly family member. You dealing with an unruly co-worker that hey man, take it to the Lord. Don't be sitting up here thinking and conjuring up things to do, because it's going to end up with you plotting how to murder them. Don't do that, brothers. Don't take matters in your own hand. That's why the Lord say, don't avenge yourself. Like, remember King David, he was so close to doing that. With Nabal, he almost murdered him. He almost did. But the Lord sent Abigail in his way to stop him from doing that folly. But what should he have done? He should have prayed to the Lord. Lord, avenge me of Nabal and this evil that he have done to me, and not helping me. But instead, David came with the sword and all his men. And he wasn't just going to take out Nabal. He was going to take out Abigail, the children, the servants. So we can't do that, brothers and sisters. Let the Lord handle your situation. Verse 18. Neither shalt thou commit adultery. And adultery, of course, is a big umbrella. Adultery can also be idolatry. It can double as that. But we know this adultery here is about fornication, just sleeping around. And we know it's talking about a man sleeping with another man's wife, or a woman sleeping with another woman's husband. You can't do that. And that's punishable by death. And that's why you see whenever this particular sin is committed, you notice the Lord, he allows the person who was cheated on to blow the wife away and the man away, or allow the woman to blow the man away and the woman he was with away, because that's vengeance, brothers and sisters. And remember, the Lord said, I'm not going to stop it either. When you've been caught in bed with another man or a woman's spouse and they get that, they load it up, and Lord said, I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to let them do it, because I warned you. Don't come running to me now and begging, God, please help me. Because Israel, I'm telling you this right here, and a lot of Israelites died behind this foolishness. It's so many Israelites lose their life behind adultery. It's a real shame. And then the Lord says, neither shall thou steal. You're not going to steal from your brother or your sister, because you don't want nobody stealing from you. You know how it is. You go to work all day, busting your ass, dealing with people that you don't like. Or if you deal with computers all day, you burning your brain out to a computer all day. Then you come home, all your stuff stole. Your garage wide open, your lawnmower gone, your shovel gone, all your stuff gone. Somebody broke your house, took your TV, took your shoes. That's painful, brothers and sisters. Because you had to work your behind off to get those things. You had to put in a lot of hours. Or you could be on hard times and a person steal from you. You can't afford to take another loss. And a thief come right in and they take what you got, and it just completely destroy you. And now you out on the streets because you couldn't afford to take another loss. And that's why the Lord, he be putting these thieves to death too. He makes sure the thief run up on the right one and that person blow that thief right away. I've seen a lot of that too in our area where we from, a lot of thieves in our area. I ain't even talking about the rest of the states. Just in my area, the county I'm in, thieves have been blown away. Not a mama crying, not a daddy crying. Oh, he wasn't no bad boy. Oh, she wasn't no bad girl. Listen. This is why we got to teach our children, brothers and sisters. But see, Israel, they don't want to hear. So when we sharing this word with these Israelites, we want them to hear it, because this is life. These commandments will literally keep you alive. Now, are they going to save you? Absolutely not. You can't keep enough commandments to land you in the kingdom. Why? Because only Jesus makes that decision. Your works don't make that decision. Now, you could do the works and Jesus will look at them. Okay, yeah, you ain't do that. You ain't do that. But at the end of the day, he's going to have the final say. Because you could do all that and he still say, no, you're not worthy. See you. Because see, it's by the grace of God we're going to get in that kingdom, brothers and sisters. And we need to fear the Lord. That's why you need to fear him. Don't depend on your own works. But nevertheless, this right here, you want to live a peaceful life? You want to have a peaceful community? This right here. God gave us instructions. You want peace? You want prosperity? You want order? You got to do this. Is it going to save you? No. But are you going to have a prosperous life? If you do what I say? Yeah, you are. See, that's the beauty of the Lord. Just do what he say. All right, let's see. Then he said, neither shall thou bear false witness against thy neighbor. So you're not going to, something ain't going to go down and then your neighbor, let's just say something happened to your neighbor, right? A thief come and steal your neighbor's stuff. And the neighbor asks you, hey man, I just want to know, because I know you be home all day and stuff like that. Did you happen to see anybody go in my house and steal? And you know you seen them. But in your mind, you like, well, I ain't gonna lie, because I don't want to get involved. So you tell the person, nah, I ain't seen nothing, man. Honestly, I didn't. But you know you seen something. That's bearing false witness. Or the one we all know is you didn't see nothing, but yet you saying you saw something. Hey man, that brother over there, hey, he was in your house. You know he wasn't in your house. You just don't like him. And you trying to frame him and get him in trouble. See, the Lord will get you for that stuff. And remember, if you had bared false witness, whatever judgment was to be pronounced on the person that you bared false witness against, like if you was bearing false witnesses against somebody and the punishment was to chop their hand off. Okay. But you were found to be a false witness, a liar, because you just wanted to see harm come to your brother or your sister. Well, guess what? That punishment that was meant for them was going to happen on you. They going to put your hand on the table. Give me your hand, nigga. Now give me that axe. See, the Lord, he say that's justice. So what if it was false witness and the judgment was death? So what if I was going to cause death for my brother? That's what I intended to see. And that was the judgment pending on him. But I was found to be a false witness. God would have made sure you were put to death. And that, my brothers, that, my sisters, is justice. That is judgment. So guess what? A dark face would think next time, all the other people would think next time, I better not bear false witness. Because if I do, amen, the judgment that was going to happen to the person you bear false witness on, it's going to happen to you. Oh, I ain't doing that. See, that's how you put the evil away. You got a lot of these women, even in this fourth kingdom, they be lying on these men. He touched me. He tried to rape me. You know damn well everything was consensual. But you just trying to get money out of them. And they talking about now throwing this man in prison for 30 years. According to when the woman is found to be a false witness in this kingdom, nothing happened. She just pay a fine. Nah, not the Lord. They intended to give him 30 years in prison. Guess what? She going in prison for what? 30 years. And you know what that's going to stop? False witnesses. That's going to make other women think twice. Ooh, I better not make up no story because I don't want to get what she got. See, that's how you put the evil away. 21. says, neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor. So in other words, you're not going to covet. You are not going to desire something that your neighbor has, because see, that's going to result into some evil, like Ahab. Remember Ahab? I can't even think of the name now. My goodness. But remember when King Ahab, he's wicked behind. Remember he had coveted his neighbor's field. But his neighbor said, hey, I can't give you this field, Ahab, because this is a part of our inheritance. I can't get there. But what Jezebel said, Ahab, you so weak, Ahab. You the king. You could do whatever you want. I'll take care of it, and end up getting, his neighbor killed. That's what happens when you covet, though. Hey, whatever your neighbor has, don't covet, because first of all, you coveting your neighbor's stuff, you don't know what they had to do to get that stuff. The hours of work they had to put in. Or maybe it's something they built. All them hours, all the labor they put in to build that thing you're coveting. Don't do no evil by coveting, because you know what you're going to do. Now you're going to want to steal. Now you're going to want to slay your neighbor. Now you're going to want to lie to your neighbor to try to get what he has. We can't be doing that, man. And in this kingdom, that's all you see is covenant. Man, I wish I had them shoes. Man, I wish I had that family. Oh, man, look at that boy. You see that man right there? Look at his wife. Man, she bad, boy. Oh, man. Oh, you see her husband? Boy, he bad. Don't do that, brothers and sisters. Because you don't know people's story. You don't know what people have been through to get what they have. Don't do that mess. Because more than likely when you're coveted, you're going to be willing to do some evil to get what it is you covet. That's why a lot of people, especially a lot of these Israelites, they're getting into debt. Because they're seeing their favorite rappers, they're seeing their favorite entertainers with all of this stuff. And so they're using credit cards or taking out loans to get these cars, these houses, these exotic houses, these shoes. Because monkey see, monkey do. Monkey have no brain. But when you serve God anyway, you don't desire these worldly things. Are they nice to have? Yeah, they're nice to have. I'm not going to lie. If I were to get a brand new car, I'd be excited. Woo, I got a brand new car, but can I live without it? Absolutely. I need no brand new car. Just give me a bucket that ride. I'm good. Because I ain't got no fancy car. I got a bucket. And they get me everywhere I need to go. And I thank the Lord for it, because there's people walking. And there's people that got bicycle. They got a bike everywhere. So, hey, I'm thankful. As long as it get me from point A to point B. And so what's going to keep you from coveting, brothers and sisters, is contentment. And you see a lot of our people, they're not content. Why? Because Babylon always throwing something in their face. That's why Babylon always got these ads playing. It's to stir up that covetousness in you. It's meant to cause you to covet, to go after these things that they're showing you, their products, their merchandise. I want to get you to the point where you start coveting it. You're wanting to do anything to get it, because eventually you are going to do anything to get it. Whether that's legally, blowing your money, or illegally, getting sentenced to jail time or prison time. And so either way, the system wins. And you don't win, because either you in jail or you just blew all your money coveting this stuff. But that right there alone is a whole nother lesson. All right. Verse 22. And it says, these words the Lord spake unto all your assembly in the mount out of the midst of the fire of the cloud. And remember, when that happened, Israel said they could no longer hear the Lord's words because they felt like they were going to die and they fled. Okay, but it says, on these words the Lord spake unto all your assembly in the mount out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness, with a great voice. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stone and delivered them unto me. And then after that, he gave the statutes and stuff. He just showed Israel a bunch of examples. Of course, Moses finished it for him, but he showed basically Israel a bunch of examples of how to keep them 10 commandments, pretty much. Okay, so yeah, it said he wrote them on 2 tables of stone and delivered them unto me. Verse 23. And it came to pass when ye heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, for your mountains did burn with fire, that ye came near unto me, even all the heads of your tribes and your elders. And ye said, behold, the Lord our God hath shewed us his glory and his greatness, and we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that God doeth talk with man, and he liveth. And the reason why the Lord did that too is because he wanted Israel to know that I am just as real as you breathing right now. You not dealing with no statue, no little knickknacks. You're not dealing with the gods of these nations. I am a living being. I exist. You have no excuse. No other nation has experienced that but you. So Israel didn't have no excuse. 25. Now therefore, why should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of the Lord our God any more, then we shall die. So they thought the Lord was going to end up consuming them. And Israel knew they was wicked too. 26. For who is there of all flesh that have heard the voice of the living God speak, or speaking out of the midst of the fire as we have, and lived? Go thou near and hear all that the Lord our God shall say. So whatever else it was he was going to say, Moses, you go and hear it, and then we're going to want you to speak it, but it's going to tell you that. And speak thou unto us all that the Lord our God shall speak unto thee, and we will hear it and do it. 28. And the Lord heard the voice of your words when ye spake unto me, and the Lord said unto me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, which they have spoken unto thee. They have well said all that they have spoken. In other words, like, it's a good thing, Moses, because I will consume them where they stand. And on top of that, the Lord was trying to put that fear in them. And that, brothers and sisters, that's what Israel is missing. They're missing the fear of God. See, Israel, they living a little good now, so they've gotten away from that fear. Now they talking about sky daddy, pie in the sky, the invisible man. But that fear right there, that's coming back. Because see, the Lord raising this affliction right as I speak. God stirring this pot of affliction up. And when he ready, he going to get that plate. Going to force that Israelite to the table. And he going to put that affliction right on the plate. Come eat some of this affliction. And it's going to tear them up, brothers and sisters. God is not playing in this hour. See, back in the day, you could kind of play around. You can't play around today. The Lord ain't playing. As my mother say, he took the kid gloves off. When I hit you, it's going to be lethal. The Lord is out for blood today. I'll just keep it at that. 29. Oh, that they were such, he says, oh, that there was such an heart in them. Now, why did the Lord say that? Because they said, Moses, go hear the rest of what the Lord was going to say, and then speak it into us, and we will hear it and do it. But the Lord said, oh, that there was such a heart in them. He know Israel. They ain't going to do nothing. That they would fear me. So he knew. Even though I put fear in Israel in this moment, the Lord knew, I know they don't fear me. They don't really truly understand what I can do to them. And I'm not just talking about on this earth, but I'm talking about judgment day. They don't understand. When they see that massive lake, that massive ocean of fire, and they're crying and begging to me not to throw them in there. These people don't understand what I can do to them. And what I will do to them, what I'm prepared to do to them if they don't obey me. He says that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Talking about even past this age. He's talking about the age of eternity. Because if these people don't obey me, I am prepared to throw them in the furnace. I don't want to have to do that. That's why he said, oh, if it was just a heart in them to fear me, to understand what I can do. Man. He said if they had fear, they would be singing a different tune. 30. Go say to them, get you into your tents again. But as for thee, stand thou here by me, and I will speak unto thee all the commandments and statutes and the judgments. In other words, the Lord said, okay, I heard what they said. Go send them Israelites home, basically. But I want you to stand by me, and I'm going to tell you the rest of what I was going to speak to them. He says, I will speak unto thee all the commandments, statutes, judgments, which thou shalt teach them, that they may do them, not hear them, do them in the land, to the land of Canaan, which I give them to possess it, which Abraham gave him. Nope. Isaac. Nope. Jacob. Nope. Moses. Nope. Aaron. Nope. He said, which I give them to possess it. Wasn't because they were strong, wasn't because they were smart. The Lord said, I'm giving it to them. Boy, man, the Lord is truly the puppet master. I'll just say that. 32. Ye shall observe to do, therefore, as the Lord your God hath commanded you. Ye shall not turn aside to the right hand or the left. Ye shall walk in all the ways of the Lord your God. You shall walk in all the ways which the Lord your God hath commanded you, that ye may live. May. Why it say may? It says may because it's conditional. You living is dependent on whether or not you're obedient to me, that ye may live, and that it may be well with you, that ye may prolong your days in the land which ye shall possess. And brothers and sisters, that is the end of this lesson. Let me see if I want to go ahead and keep on reading. No, I think I'll go ahead and end it here. I hope you guys got some understanding, and I will see you in the next chapter. Shalom.